The Dildo Burger Prophecies by Michael Fazio, July 20th, 2011. Today, 5 events are going to take place on July 20th that are going to change the course of history. Of course, the most important event that's going to change the course of history is I am going to show you a depiction of Satan or Lucifer on the reverse of the $1 bill that is actually a representation of the abomination that represents itself as the 44th POTUS inside the White House of the United States of America. And folks, this is a portrait of the abomination that sits within the White House of the United States of America. But more to the point, folks, this is a portrait of Satan. And inside this portrait of Satan are several faces that you can make out. Let's show you one face there. Let's back it up and show you a second face there. Notice the horn-like structures that come down kind of like handlebar mustaches that float downwards towards the ground. This is a representation of Satan on the reverse of the $1 bill. This is inside the pictographs of the obverse and reverse of the $1 bill that I have always depicted as the God Pod and the evil seed of death. And this is what happens when you fold the bill in a certain way and bring the God Pod and the evil seed of death together, where when I'm going to scroll this down a little bit, when you bring the God Pod and the evil seed together, like so, where they're almost touching, this entity is formed. Because let us say that the words on the reverse of the $1 bill, "In God We Trust One," is what separates the God Pod and the evil seed of death. Let us say for a moment that the words inside the God Pod and the evil seed of death are a representation of time. And let us say that the God Pod, which represents life, and the evil seed of death, which represents death, let us say that someone takes or diminishes this time and then causes a pictograph such as this to appear, where they are not quite as close as they were in the first picture. They are only 1/8 of an inch different in size or width, but the entity that appeared, that I just showed you, appears as an animal-like entity in nature. It appears to be holding its eyes or hands over its eyes, and this appears to be a great sword that comes out of its head for reasons that are not necessarily needed to be described. But this is the great sword that comes from on high when Barack Hussein Obama enters into the White House as an abomination to this world, as represented in the Bible and also in Matthew 25 verse 15 as an abomination. Now let us back off this picture momentarily and let us take the next caricature, the evil seed of death, which is the commander-in-chief. This is the shield. This is a nuclear detonation. This is a nuclear detonation. This is a nuclear detonation. It can be nothing else. The way it is depicted inside the supposed glory, it is a nuclear detonation. It is a nuclear detonation. It cannot be anything else. It is a nuclear detonation that appears over the commander-in-chief. This is the shield. This represents the 44th POTUS. Of course, the feathers represent the Masons, supposedly. However, this is a bow and this is arrows. A bow and arrows represents the God of war, folks. This is not a happenstance circumstance. This is created by an entity. This is these pictographs. The whole entire reverse of the $1 bill was created by an entity that we perceive to be alien in nature, and it may very well be alien in nature. But Hebrews 8, verse 8 explains this entity to a large degree in that it gives the Zionists or the Jewish faction of the olden days the ability to rule this world. But I don't think that it's the same Jewish entities that the Lord God gave these Jewish nations back when Hebrews 8:8 was written. I believe that the whole thing has been sidetracked by an evil entity. And now the people that control our government are more of an evil-like nature. Because if it was an all-loving and all-love-bearing God, it would have never allowed this many people to exist on planet Earth. And if it didn't do that, it wouldn't need to kill 93% of this world's population. And that's what's happening, folks. Now, let's move back once again to this entity. This is what I call the evil seed of death. This is what I call the Indian chief with the bow and arrows that had the ability to kill with bow and arrows. And this is what I call the commander-in-chief that has the ability to kill with nuclear power. This is the two methodologies in which they will kill us, folks. We are about to be annihilated. Every one of us. Get used to the idea, because today they are in Congress pushing forth laws that are supposed to help this world, but in fact they are destroying the United States of America's economy so that they can collapse the economy, so that they can wear you down through attrition and through your taking of all your money and make you feel as if this is all your fault. But it's not your fault. This event has been planned for 50,000 years by this entity. It is almost as if these pictographs that appear on the reverse of the $1 bill tell a story that this entity created 50,000 years ago and follows as if it was a script in a movie. The events that are taking place in today's world are depicted on the reverse of the $1 bill to where it almost seems like a movie. This is a picture of Satan, or Luciferian type entity, that appears on the reverse of the $1 bill when you bring the God pod and the evil seed of death together. This occurs to the degree it occurs, to the amount of detail that it occurs in. Look, it's a face. It's a Luciferian type face. But let me show you what this Luciferian face looks like when you turn it upside down, like Satan turns your world upside down. This Luciferian face turns into something so monstrous that you won't even believe that you never saw this before, or no one ever saw it before, because I am bringing it to you for the first time today in its entirety. I'm going to zoom in on it, but let's say these two things were eyes. It looks like the snout of some sort of beast. But moving past that, look at the horns. See the horns? Here's a set of horns. This has a point. This one doesn't come to a point. Here's another set of horns. Here's another set of horns. And here's a fourth set of horns, folks. There are 4 sets of horns. Look at the face when I bring you into detail. Look, there is one face. Here is an eye. Here is an eye. This is a nose, this is a mouth, and this is a horn-like entity. This is Lucifer because the horns go upwards. Notice how the horns go upwards. Notice how the body is shaped like a human body, but doesn't have fingers per se, or feet per se, but it does have 5 little lines here inside the little curl that you can't see without a magnifying glass that represent fingers, and these are the type of pictographs that exist on the $1 bill, just like the owl that I have showed you in previous videos that no one else on earth has ever seen except Michael Fazio. So today, in history, these are the events that are going to take place in history. The first event that takes place on July 20th happened in 1969, the landing on the moon of the astronauts. The second major event that takes place is today, the landing of the space shuttle. The third major event is what's going on behind closed doors in Congress. They give you a little bit and they take everything away. They gave you Minnesota was supposedly the deal was broken to bring Minnesota back online. And then what do? The Republicans and the Democrats for the last month, they fight amongst themselves to make it look like they're doing something that's worthy, that they should earn a paycheck. And meanwhile, what they're doing, folks, is they're giving you the dildo burger. Butt end first, folks. They aren't doing a damn thing for us. What they're doing is they're getting ready to wipe us out via a nuclear catastrophe. This is Satan. This is a Satan-like entity on the reverse of the $1 bill. And my name is Michael Fazio. And I am telling you that I believe that today someone is going to watch this video. Someone is going to see these pictographs that I am portraying. And someone is going to make me an offer to purchase the rights to the books and make a movie. Because, folks, this is one of the most important discoveries of the 21st century. And I need to get a bigger camera.